in for the injured Chandler Worthy, handling the returns for the Alouettes. Ottawa won the toss, but they have deferred. And so Montreal will get the ball first. Happy Thanksgiving Monday, and back-to-back meetings now for the Red Blacks and the Alouettes as it's a shorter kick. And it is taken there by Regis Sibasu as he brings it out with a good place to start for Cody Fajardo in the Alouettes offense.
You see the record from Cody Fajardo, 6-7 as the Alouettes started. He's been sacked obviously a lot this year. But no doubt Fajardo happy to have Austin Mack back in the receiving corps that has battled injuries, Rod, since even before training camp started.
Mack's first CFL game here against Ottawa in week 1, he had 4 catches for 120 yards. Handing off Walter Fletcher with the injury to William Stanback, or actually an illness keeping him out of the game. It is Fletcher, the starting running back, as we take a look at that Montreal offense.
Yeah, it'll be Jamar McGloster at right tackle. Once again, Landon Rice on the 6-game injured list. McGloster spent a little bit of time in Ottawa as well. Keep an eye on Cole Speaker, one of the guys who has received an opportunity and made the most of it with some of those other injuries in the receiving corps. Big target for Cody Fajardo.
He had 3 catches for 60 yards last week at TD Place in that Alouette 32-15 victory over the Red Blacks, pushing them to 8-7, a game above 500. Second place, pressure coming, and Fajardo can't get away. Slipped through, but then he heads down for a loss for that Montreal offense as the punting unit will come on.
Yeah, Ottawa all over them right out of the gate, and to absolutely no surprise, Bryce Carter, first one through, supplying the heat. A little bit of a glitch clearly there in terms of communication in that blocking scheme. The tackle lets Carter go. Callender taking Frankie Griffin on the inside, allowing Carter to get through and disrupt that play.
Joseph Zima with the punt. The leader in net yards in the CFL this season. Brandon Dandridge on the return, and a late flag as he is taken down. A flag back where Zima had punted the ball away as well. So 2 on the field right now.
Yeah, Zima got blown up a little bit on the play. Voshan Joseph came through looking for the block. Former Ticat falling into the legs of the Alouette punter.
So we had that, and then we had one on the return end as well after Dandridge was taken down.
Okay. There's 3 penalties on the play. They're all against Ottawa. Roughing the kicker, Ottawa number 30. That's the penalty that's going to be applied. It's a 15-yard penalty. It makes it a first down for Montreal. The other 2 penalties are holding and legal block. They both get declined. That's
pretty cut and dry. 3 penalties all against the Red Blacks, and the big one, though, that first one, the roughing the kicker that gives them the first down closer to midfield.
Opening the game with a Thanksgiving feast of penalties for Montreal to choose from.
The announcement coming from the referee, Ben Major, working this game in Montreal. So up to the Montreal 50 with that 15-yard penalty as the Alouette offense stays on the field. Cody Fajardo, a record of 6-1 against the Red Blacks in his career. He's passing and completing it to Jake Hardy, former Red Black, started his career there, and he gets it up across midfield.
Well, taking a look at this Ottawa D, we've talked a little bit about Bryce Carter. Came into this week tied for 2nd in the league with 11 sacks. Douglas Coleman has done a little bit of everything. 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, 4 knockdowns. It's been absolutely terrific. Brandon Dandridge on the corner, another difference maker for Ottawa this season. 7 takeaways for him on the year.
Gain of 7 for the veteran of the University of Calgary, Hardy, and then 2nd and 3. It's Walter Fletcher in the carry right side, driving down near the 50 and close to a first down for the Alouettes.
Well, we know about the depth that Montreal possesses at running back with William Stanback out of the lineup today. Walter Fletcher and Jeshrin Antwi, both CFL veterans, have an opportunity to get the extra touches.
Fletcher coming into the game with only 135 yards rushing with Stanback getting most of the reps. He had more last year with Stanback missing so much time. It's Caleb Evans with the short yardage keeper in the first down. Evans, who had 2 touchdowns in this game a year ago for the Ottawa REDBLACKS in their 24-18 victory. Of course, switching teams, signing on as a free agent in the offseason.
We'll take a look at Caleb Evans and the short yardage unit. So they've enjoyed success this year. Once again, getting that one pretty easily.
Evans got a victory over his old team as a starter earlier this season in Ottawa. The dramatic last-second win as he scored the touchdown. The running back is Jeshrin Antwi now. And they fake to him, and they throw it to Tyler Sneed as he gets it inside the 45 on that first down play. Sneed, one of the impressive new receivers for the Alouettes this season in his first year out of East Carolina.
Yeah, Sneed has really been a model of consistency for Montreal since coming into the lineup. Smaller receiver. He, like Ottawa's Justin Hardy out of East Carolina. The Pirates, an offense known for its aerial attack.
Right there, you're on.
Smaller receiver who plays tough too. 2nd and 5 after that pickup by Sneed. The fake to Fletcher, dumping it off to the left and back to Tyler Sneed, who does not have enough for the first down. He'll be about 2 yards shy, getting it down to the Ottawa 40.
3rd and 2.
And so the offense heads off. And we have a field goal situation coming up here for Montreal. David Cote, their regular kicker, is hurt. So Jose Maltos, this will be his first regular season kick of his career. He bounced around a few different teams, including the REDBLACKS, who took him in the global draft. So what a moment this is for Maltos. From 48 out. And he misses it. It's wide left. Dandridge dancing around and then takes a knee in the end zone. So Maltos misses on his first try from Monterrey, Mexico. And waiting for this opportunity. Just a point put on the board for the Alouettes in their opening possession. So that close, but no. He had a productive week last week in terms of yards, but he was picked off twice against the Alouettes. A costly one in the end zone, another one, a pick 6 by Marc-Antoine Dutois. So back to work now after that loss, and Devontae Williams has nowhere to go. Up just shy of the REDBLACK 40, and a 2nd and long coming up for that REDBLACKS offense.
On that offensive line, Hunter Stewart in at the left guard spot. Usually Drew Desjardins in there. Stewart, the veteran, getting the call today. The receiving court looking for a little bit of a bounce-back game for Jalen Acklin, as his former Ticat teammate Braylon Addison had a big one last week. 7 catches over 90 yards. The numbers were down. 3 catches, 19 yards for Acklin.
Kahari Jones saw him, the offensive coordinator, former head coach here in Montreal. 2nd down, and they whistle that one dead on the 2nd and 10. There had been no gain in the play before by Devontae Williams.
18, the 5-yard penalty will replay 2nd down.
So Crum does not get this play off in time, so the time count pushes Ottawa further back.
And tough position to start off, and we talk all the time about the impact that sacks and penalties have on offensive drives. Create that uphill climb. It can be so difficult to overcome.
Crowd here at Molson Stadium picking up 4 receivers to the right for Crum. And he evaded pressure for a while, but he does not evade Lowell Uguak, the rookie, with the top draft picks in the Canadian Football League. Picks up the sack, and the REDBLACKS are going to have to kick it away.
Here you see Uguak, and Edmonton native. It's a little bit of separation. You saw in that situation Dino Boyd, the left tackle. Not always tough situation for offensive linemen. Your back is to the ball. You're not really sure when your quarterback is on the move exactly what angle to protect from.
Richie Leone's second to Joseph Zima in net punting average in the CFL. There's James Letcher in for Chandler Worthy. And Decent return. You get it up close to the 45 after a 53-yard punt. Second sack of the young career Lowell Uguak as he takes down Crum. Holiday Monday in Montreal. The Alouettes up a rouge.
Certainly looking to develop some consistency here down the stretch.
Of course, it helps when your defense account for 2 touchdowns in that game, too. Mentioning the pick 6 by Marc-Antoine Duquois and a fumble recovery for a touchdown by Sean Lemon. But the offense is on now with a 1-0 lead. They drove down a missed field goal by Jose Maltos, and that's the scoring so far. Halfway through the first quarter is Fajardo. And he sets it up there for Walter Fletcher. To be a dangerous player, used that way too. Get him in space and move the football. We saw a lot of that last year, especially when he was filling in for the injured Williams stand-back. Very productive player.
And keep an eye on Fletcher lining up to the right of his quarterback in the backfield. Jake Hardy comes in to help with the protection scheme. Little chip and leak Fletcher out of there. Great move there on Frankie Griffin to pick up a couple extra yards.
So he gets 8. It's a 2nd and 2 now up near midfield for the Montreal Alouettes, coming in at 8-7. They can't wrap up second place with Hamilton winning this weekend as well, but can get back 2 points ahead if they get a victory. Running, and a good carry inside the Ottawa 50 and a first down. Walter Fletcher carrying the football that time and a gain of 9 more.
Yeah, Fletcher lined up directly behind his quarterback here is just going to hit this one. Straight up, you see his burst. Nice kick out there from the fullback. James Tuck, Tyler Sneed as well. You mentioned smaller player, but doesn't mind doing a little bit of dirty work as he's asked to take on the weak side linebacker in that scheme.
1st and 10, Montreal at the Ottawa 48. Quickly off to the right. That's complete to Tyson Philpott. Lots of yards after the catch, too, as Philpott takes it down inside the Red Black 25. 23 more yards for the Alouettes on the move in this first quarter.
Yeah, and the thing I love about this, he's isolated by himself, the lone receiver to that side. Now, usually on a hitch pass, you see 1 or 2 other receivers out there to block. But with the defenders backed off, they can get this to Philpott all by himself, doesn't need the lead blockers, and obviously he's so great in the open field, making people miss on his own. Able to turn that into a nice gain for the Owls.
In his second year out of the University of Calgary, 3 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown last week in Ottawa. Fajardo. Deeper look, intercepted, and into the end zone goes Brandon Dandridge. That ball was short. He had a receiver for a moment, Cole Speaker, into the end zone, but the ball never got there, and Dandridge was waiting for it.
And keep an eye here as you're going to see Mike Wakefield, I believe, gets a piece of Fajardo, more than a piece, as he goes to throw that football, impacts the pass, causing it to fall short.
Oh, man, let's go, baby.
Brandon Dandridge, another takeaway for him in a great year. That's his 5th interception.
And another big play for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. You can see Mike Wakefield come off the right side. Mismatch now is you've got a guy who's usually a defensive tackle lined up at the end. Tough as Tyler Sneed is, that's not an ideal matchup in protection, and you see the impact there as Dandridge comes up with the turnover.
And that is his 5th interception, his 8th takeaway. He'd come in tied with Marc-Antoine Duquois with 7 takeaways, so alone in second behind Mario Houston in the CFL season. Running to the left now, Devontae Williams gets it up across the 35. How about that Montreal defense?
Yeah, for this group, Sean Lemon, big play last week, but one of the underrated guys in this group, Mustafa Johnson on the inside. Keep an eye on him creating chaos in there. Tyrese Beverett. He's been one of the top defenders in the Canadian Football League this season. Also has 15 special teams tackles. In the secondary, getting healthier back there. Veterans Ciante Evans and Wesley Sutton in at the halfback spots.
2nd and 5. It's complete for a first down. That's Tavon Smith, who had 5 catches on 5 targets for 47 yards last week in Ottawa, and has his first catch here.
Tavon Smith has battled injuries so much during his time in Ottawa over the last couple of seasons, but this is a guy who I thought in his last season in Edmonton really established himself as one of the top Canadian receivers in the league. Would be great for the Red Blacks if they can get him back on track.
The Canadian who played his college ball at Iowa in his 5th CFL season. And a first down up to the Ottawa 42 for Dustin Crum. And handing off. And the ball carrier is Williams, who gets up across the Ottawa 45. Pick up with 3 more yards for the Red Blacks.
Yeah, Montreal D able to track down Williams before he could get up ahead of steam.
Harry Jones, former head coach of the Montreal Alouettes. They had a good team going in 2019. He was let go in the 2022 season early on after a slower start. And he was very fondly remembered here as head coach in Montreal, his days here. That pass wide open to Shaq Evans. Down near the 40, and another big first down for the Ottawa Red Blacks. 25 yards.
And this completion is the product of great protection for Crum, as you're going to see Shaq Evans motioning down. Get closer to the formation as he's going to work across. And you see he's in between levels, but this isn't, as I said, isn't going to happen if they don't get great protection back at the line of scrimmage. Nice job picking things up to allow that play time to develop.
Right down to the Alouette 40. The Red Blacks have something going now. Down a point, first quarter. Molson Stadium in Montreal, and right side, and looking for an opening there was Williams, but Avery Ellis, the ex-Ottawa Red Black defensive lineman, with flags down in the field, 3 of them making that stop.
Avery Ellis on the tackle.
Yeah, Ellis scrape into that play as a linebacker. Did a terrific job. Bounced around a little bit last year after leaving Ottawa as a free agent. Spent some time first in Montreal, then Edmonton. Let go by the Elks.
We have a misconduct, 15-yard penalty against Ottawa 64. We'll go back 15 yards. It's going to be second down.
That'll hurt the drive a bit. The left tackle, Dino Boyd, is flagged and pushes them way back to a 1st and 25 back around the 54 of the Alouettes.
Already, yeah, the negative impact. Penalties and sacks on offensive drives. You'll see Boyd coming from the right side of your screen. Couple extra shots on people standing around the pile. Those tourist hits that are frowned upon.
Second and long, setting up a screen for Andy Milanovic. Litre keeps his feet for a while and is taken down inside the Alouette 45. But still, they have to get down to the 31 or close to it to get another first down, and it's a third down coming up here now.
Third down, 14 yards to go.
A little bit of a play it safe, take what you can get sort of play, knowing that the defense is going to drop out. They'll allow completions in front of them, and then you've got a ton of defenders you've still got to beat as they're all coming forward to make the tackle. This is more of a field position play for Montreal, or for Ottawa rather.
They choose not to try the field goal. Richie Leone to punt instead with some heat coming as Letcher is back around the 10 to take it. And a flag comes out after that as he's taken down up around just across the Alouette 15-yard line. We'll sort out that flag coming up, but it is Alouette football again, and a slim lead, the slimmest, 1-0. Talked about and went viral, Dwayne, that little pooch punt in Ottawa last week.
Yeah, and just taking advantage of the rules, quite frankly. Punted ball, kicked ball. He's onside, eligible to recover it himself. So in a second and very long situation, turns that into a first down. You know, most recently, last time we saw that play was a few years back. Ottawa's Brad Sinopoli attempted that one in a game as well.
Once saw Antwi try it against BC, but you know, we know this statistically is the worst punting average in the Canadian Football League. They don't even list them. So the no yards penalty pushes Montreal back to the 23 to start, and the sweep to Tyson Philpott. He gets it up to the 30 and a gain of 7. Here's what Jason Moss had to say about the decision to do that. Use the rules and get that first down.
Second and 3.
About 8 or 9 years ago, we talked about the play with the rules the way they are set and how hard it is to get first downs on second and extra long situations, and that's one of the creative rules in our league that you can take advantage of depending on the way defenses decide to play that play. And you know, it's just a normal play for us. It's just a you know, the running back or whoever you throw that ball to has to have the ability to make a good decision, because if there's times when you call the play and they're too tight of coverage and they take the play away, and with that, the quarterback has a decision to make as well, because he can choose to just read the play out differently.
That was on a 2nd and 18, what Antwi did last week. They did get the first down, and they get it a more conventional way on that last play, Dwayne, with Walter Fletcher running for 5 more yards, so they moved the sticks.
Yes, staying traditional on that one. But, yeah, the Antwi play, I mean, the key is just how gently he touches the football, as it doesn't take much for a football to take an odd bounce on him.
Last play, first quarter, and Tyler Snead has it up closer to the 45 and near another first down for the Alouettes. Not a lot of points on the board in this holiday game between the Owls and the Red Blacks. Just a missed field goal by Jose Maltos, accounting for the one by Montreal. Back after this. We are joined now, as you look at those stats, by a special guest who joins us every year, although I don't believe it's the same bird every year. But yes, and looking good, all dressed and ready to go. And can I trust you with a knife to get us started here?
Well, I actually just got an email from head office saying I haven't completed the necessary training module to handle sharp objects, so I'm going to leave the carving to you.
Okay, well, there you go. Talk about the game then while I see if I can cut you off. You don't eat cold turkey, though, do you?
Well, I believe that roasted meats are meant to be eaten, well, at least warm.
Okay.
So I'm going to let you share the turkey with the rest of the crew.
I was going to say,
it is a good-looking bird, though.
We have a lot here, a lot with the crew, and we're happy to take your portion as well. So, talking turkey. Anything you want to say about the football game right now? They're back playing, so we're going to have to talk about this now, as the Alouettes with the ball getting up across the 50. And that's Caleb Evans, the ex-Red Black quarterback, in on the carry.
Yeah,
well,
mixing things up a little bit with Evans attacking the perimeter. This time to pick up a first down. I like the creativity. A little bit of variety in the short yardage package.
And some rain starts to fall here at Molson Stadium at McGill University. Up to the Alouette 52 now. And a 1st and 10 after that pickup by Evans. Fajardo wanted to screen it off. Instead, he just throws it away. Out of bounds it goes. 2nd down coming up.
And very much a throwaway for Fajardo on that one. Late flag suggests that we may have grounding. It'll back him up on this one. Got in trouble.
Intentional grounding. Montreal, number 7. It's going to be 2nd down from where he threw the ball. Débarrasser du ballon.
That it is, as announced by the referee Ben Major today. Back at the 44 now.
Light rain starting to pick up a little bit here, so we'll keep an eye on some of the challenges as far as ball security.
Had one turnover in this game. An interception by Brandon Hendricks. That's a completion. Fajardo getting it off to Tyler Snead. Another catch for him. Gets it into the Red-Black territory and a pickup of 16 yards.
Yeah, Snead lined up on the inside on this one. Working in traffic across the middle. You see Douglas Coleman coming across to lower the boom.
But not quite enough for a first down. 2 yards shy, so Zima's out to punt it away again. Dandridge is back, along with Justin Hardy.
Yeah, Ottawa with the ball being punted in this part of the field sends 2 returners back, as they want to make sure that Montreal can't get this one on the ground.
The punt from Zima down to Hardy inside the 10. And just across the 15. So the Red Blacks deeper in their own zone. And a must-win game for them, but celebrating a holiday now. We'll talk about some Thanksgiving traditions when we come back here.
Means a lot to him.
And Kenzie looked like he had it down with the YouTube tutorial on how to carve up a bird. I wonder if that tradition's going to catch on for Marco Dubois. From the Ottawa 18 and a 1st and 10 now for Dubois and the Red Blacks, and handing off Devontae Williams right side. And he gets around and he gets it up closer to the 25.
First real burst we've seen in this game from Devontae Williams. 2-back set here. They don't really get the edge secured, but Williams, with that great acceleration, manages to get around the corner for a 5-yard pickup.
Spotting it back at the 22, so a second and 5, Red Blacks. Coming in at 4 and 11, absolute must win for them. Trailing 1-0. Early second quarter here on a holiday Monday. Dustin Crum is taken down. Another sack allowed by Ottawa. Tyrese Beverette, weak side linebacker, coming in with the pressure. These are the 2 most sacked teams by far in the Canadian Football League, with Ottawa leading the way.
Yeah, you see Beverette on the end of the line. He's just going to let go on the blitz here. Unblocked man. They've got an extra blocker on the front side. Again, some miscommunication. They've got enough there to get that looked after, but Beverette comes through with his 6th sack of the season.
Second for the Alouettes D. Lowell Uguak had one earlier. That's 50 times this season that Dustin Crum has been sacked, and it forces Richie Leone back near the Ottawa goal line to punt this one away. For James Letcher, the returner for the Alouettes for the 2nd straight game. To midfield, Kevin Francis, special teams tackles leader for the Red Blacks after a punt of 48. Francis takes him down. Defense once again for Montreal, doing their job against Ottawa, setting up the offense at midfield. Montreal in this stadium, and a coach on the staff here, the offensive coordinator for the Alouettes. But what a moment that was for Montreal football fans, and the great career of Anthony Calvillo back in Thanksgiving 2011. Cody Fajardo rolls right and intended for Sneed, and that falls incomplete with Brandon Dandridge on the coverage.
Yeah, Sneed working back to the football here. Dandridge sees that action, gets right on him. Left hand in to pop that ball free.
Alouettes starting this position. They've had good field position in this game. They're starting here at midfield. A 2nd and 10 now. Just a single point on the board so far. 10 minutes to go until halftime. Some heat coming. Michael Wakefield. They get it off to Fletcher, and they go backwards. Losing yardage there. Blessman Da'ala on the tackle after the completion to Walter Fletcher. That's a loss of 7 yards, and the Alouettes will have to punt it away.
Yeah, and you're going to see Da'ala, who ends up making the play to tackle the running back. He sniffs out what's happening and just follows the back on that sort of screen path. There to make a play right away. Da'ala, #1 overall pick in this year's global draft for the Red Blacks.
A Rainbow Warrior into the University of Hawaii in his first year in the CFL. Justin Hardy, Braylon Addison are back for this punt by Joseph Zima. And that's Addison with it. Across the 20, trying to lunge forward and get as much as he can. And a flag comes down. NFL on TSN continues tonight. Monday Night Football, the Packers and the Raiders, coverage starting at 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific on TSN and CTV. And here's CFL side. We've got the Thanksgiving tradition of the Red Blacks and the Alouettes.
Ottawa 42. The 10-yard penalty. It's going to be 1st down for Ottawa. Retenu, Ottawa 42.
So already deep, and not much deeper with the holding penalty against the Red Blacks. As said, the Alouettes have enjoyed the better field position in this game so far. They just haven't been able to cash in. And that was really the story of the Red Blacks last week, that they were able to move the ball. They had more net yards than Montreal, but when they got close, there were turnovers, missed opportunities, and they did not have a point to show for that game until the fourth quarter. Ended up with 15. From the Ottawa 7 now. Dustin Crum. More pressure. Gets rid of it and completes it. No. A shot there for Shaq Evans, but it's incomplete. Second down.
And not a lot of help to be had there for Dustin Crum on that play. It ends with the drop pass, but you're going to see Stubblefield comes free on the blitzes. He's going to beat the running back. Keep an eye on Devontae Williams, who recognizes that blitz coming. Gives him too much room, though. He's late seeing it, so he's too far from the line of scrimmage trying to pick that up, which gives Stubblefield room to go either way. Crum still gets the pass away, but Shaq Evans lets it get into the pads.
Big second down now. Crum, they're pinned deep. And looking there for Hardy, but no, incomplete. So the Red Blacks will have to punt the ball from their end zone.
Always tough field position to start off, and once again they had a chance to get a completion on their first play, give themselves a little bit of wiggle room, so to speak. But a couple of mistakes end up costing them, and yeah, this is going to hurt in the field position game.
Leone well back in the end zone. Letcher is actually standing in Red Black territory, just their side of midfield at about the 53. Good punt, Leone. Another beauty that gets it back to the Montreal 50. Letcher makes one miss, but he does not make Anthony Gosselin miss after a punt of 53. Flag coming out again, and Fajardo coming on. Alouettes will try it again to see if they can build on their. Red Blacks got a great punt by Richie Leone, but they give 10 yards back here, Dwayne.
Yeah, at the tail end, you see Gary Johnson, number 48, in on the dive and then standing over the returner. Basically taunting, leads to the misconduct foul. Don't know from here what might have been said in that exchange, but it probably wasn't happy Thanksgiving.
And not happy for Bob Dice there. The kind of penalty that drives his coaches crazy. So 10 yards, and now Montreal starts this drive at the Ottawa 50. Just a missed field goal by Jose Maltos. That's the scoring in this game so far. And the Alouettes might have a chance on this possession for more. Tyson Philpott on that slant. Gain of 12 yards and a quick first down for the Alouettes.
Yeah, and look at all the room they're giving Philpott to work here, putting him as the only receiver out to the wide side of the field. He's got all kinds of space to get open. Just has to get inside position on the defender. Adai, quick hitter. Easy way to move those sticks.
The scrimmage inside the Ottawa 40, down at the 38. Midway through the second quarter. Still 1-0. Three receivers to the right, two to the left. Fajardo looks to the right, and that one, he had one pass thrown in the first quarter that looked like he didn't have as much on it as he wanted to, similar to that play, and it was intercepted by Dandridge, the one turnover that the Alouettes have committed in this game.
And just off the mark between a couple of receivers there, really.
Field goal regular, be ready.
9 for 12, though, 77 yards. Had that one pick thrown. 2nd and 10 at the Ottawa 38. Montreal. Blitz coming. Fajardo gets rid of it. Deep, open, touchdown! Tyson Philpott. And a quick strike. That's what the Alouettes were looking for. 38 yards to build on that slim lead.
There they get Philpott out to that side again. Max up the protection at the line of scrimmage. Philpott gets in behind Brandon Dandridge. Ends up as the closest defender on the play.
And that is the third touchdown of the season for Tyson Philpott. Back-to-back weeks as well. Had one last week. And here's Jose Maltos. The missed field goal for one. And he gets one there and the point after. For Maltos in his first taste of CFL regular season action. Celebration in the Alouette sideline on this Thanksgiving Monday. Another connection between Cody Fajardo and Tyson Philpott to make it an 8-0 Alouette lead. 3 plays, 50 yards, and a minute and a half, capped off with this.
Yeah, you're going to see Philpott as the outside receiver on this one. He's just taken off down the field. But keep an eye on the corner out here, Dandridge, in his position. He's looking ahead, maybe watching for the route coming out in the flat, thinking he's going to jump that. And just that split second of hesitation allows Tyson Philpott to separate by a good 5 yards. Cody Fajardo spots that with his receiver in behind, puts it up, and lets Philpott go make a play for the touchdown.
Nick Callender helps him up. Pounding into the turf there and celebrating another touchdown pass for Cody Fajardo. That's his 12th touchdown pass of the season. And a little more comfort for the Alouettes, who have been the better of the two teams so far in this game and have some points to show for it now. Devontae Williams back. Maltos will have this kickoff for Montreal. And Williams takes it on this kick return. Across the 30 and finally taken down up closer to the 45. With Chris Moore on the tackle. Well, this month on Crave, every day is Halloween with suspenseful hit series and some of the most terrifying movies of all time. Stream now. Plan starting at $9.99 a month. Halloween, The Exorcist. Are there any movies that scared Dwayne Ford? He's thinking.
I'll have to think about that.
The Shining, perhaps?
Yeah, I do remember the first time I watched Friday the 13th back in high school. The end did terrify me.
Exorcist did it for me. I was a little too young watching that way back. Ottawa 36, 1st and 10. Andy Milanovic-Litre is the ball carrier for Ottawa. The Red Blacks now down 8 after that touchdown strike to Tyson Philpott here. Under 6 minutes to go until halftime.
Nice first down run there for Milanovic-Litre. We've seen him used most often as running back in short yardage type situations, but very versatile back, can play a little bit of fullback for you, spell your tailback. Simon Fraser product. Been productive throughout his career.
Had some good years with the Calgary Stampeders. Later went to Edmonton. Ottawa 42 in a 2nd and 4 now. On that option, it is Devontae Williams who carries for a first down. He gets it up across the Ottawa 50.
And we'll see what else Ottawa does off of this. Keep an eye on quarterback Dustin Crum after he hands this off to Devontae Williams. Crum will continue around the outside. See how that holds Reggie Stubblefield on the play, as he's got to be aware and honor the potential of Dustin Crum keeping that football so he can't crash down too hard as Williams takes off between the tackles.
Third first down of this game for the Red Blacks, and a Ottawa 52 play here, and a deep look from, and the coverage was there by Stubblefield on Braylon Addison, falling incomplete. And Stubblefield was right there with him.
And Ottawa trying to do the thing that they have struggled with maybe more than anything this year offensively, as they've tried to put Dustin Crum in a position to be successful in the offense. Keep an eye on Crum after taking that hit, but the big play pushing the ball down the field.
Last week, Stubblefield had 2 sacks and 1 interception in the end zone. Had a great game. That one against the Red Blacks, and the play there is complete. It's down to Addison. Incomplete. And Ottawa on that incompletion, forced to punt it away again.
And you see Dustin Crum with a little bit of a limp as he heads towards the sidelines, but Addison picking that one off the turf.
They nearly get to Leone again, but he gets another good one away for Letcher down at the 5. James Letcher, first-year Alouette, in on returns now for the injured Chandler Worthy. After a punt of 53 yards by Leone, but barely getting it away. Fajardo back on. Last pass, a touchdown toss to Tyson Philpott to make it an 8-point game.
A long field here for the Alouettes. They've enjoyed an edge in terms of field position, at least for much of this first half.
Next week, Jason Moss and the Alouettes go to his old stomping grounds in Edmonton. And depending on what happens here, might have a chance to wrap up second place in the West. Well, the Ticats are right with them. They're tied in points in the standings. Montreal with a game in hand, and they have the season series. Swinging it out to the right. Walter Fletcher, as he gets it up right across the 15.
Mike Wakefield. Big fella's showing some range on this one. You see him start off in the box, up at the line of scrimmage, and turning up again here out on the perimeter to make the tackle on Fletcher. Great free agent signing. Started his career in Ottawa, spent a couple of years here in Montreal before making his way back to Eastern Ontario.
This should be the last play before the 3-minute warning. Under 3 now at 2:50 on the clock, and a second and long Fajardo. And that is caught by Cole Speaker. And in some traffic as well, as he gets a big first down for the Alouettes. Buys themselves some space and a gain of 14. Fajardo to Speaker. Low scoring for the longest time. But then Montreal finally found the end zone. 8-0 Alouettes late first half.
Too busy eating. Snitty. Do the halftime for us. Ow. Ow.
That's more than I would have said, Kate. You know what? I don't have a monitor. I couldn't see them, but I could just tell. You could hear those little eating noises, right? They're digging into the bird, and they're going to have to take their last bite soon because they got to talk about this game, and then it's our chance to eat a little turkey while they talk some turkey. This first half. What are they going to talk about? Maybe this guy, Tyson Philpott. He's got the touchdown in this game, and he's got another catch for a first down for the Alouettes, trying to add to it late in this first half, pick up a 14 more.
Well, this is an element for Montreal going back to last season when they had Philpott and Keon Julian Grant. Tons of short passes, high percentage passes for those guys, and allow them to go to work, use their athleticism, pick up plenty of yards after the catch. Both were very productive. Montreal this year, obviously a different offensive scheme, but they've had those two guys healthy and together for a very limited number of games this season. But if they're able to get Julian Grant back for the stretch run in playoffs, they could become very dangerous once again.
And Dwayne, this is what happened to Cole Speakers, the injured Alouettes, on this play.
Yeah, leading the way out there blocking. Looked like he actually got in trouble. His legs got rolled up on at the end, but I think he may have taken a finger in the eye earlier as he was trying to block. You see his hands up at his face.
Gets some applause as he trots off himself, and yeah, he did seem to be paying more attention there, although that could have been dangerous as he was rolled up while he was dealing with that. But he seems fine now. It's Philpott with the catch. 4 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. Not a bad first half for Tyson Philpott, the second year, the Calgary Dinos program. From the Alouette 43, 2:11 on the clock, Fajardo gets it to Fletcher, and more lost yardage after a reception by Fletcher. Bryce Carter in there, Wakefield, Santos Knox, and the Alouettes go backwards on that play.
The Ottawa defense sniffing that one out. It became an outlet for Fajardo as things shut down in front of him. but really nowhere to go for Fletcher on the play.
And because of the lost yardage on a couple of plays, he has 4 catches for -6. The 7-yard loss earlier. 2nd and 18. Here we go to Fletcher again. Positive yardage on that play, but not nearly enough. 8 yards back, but a punting situation coming up late in the half for Joseph Zima and the Alouettes.
Yeah, again, 2nd and long situation. The defense is going to allow opportunities for completions underneath, as they know they've got a veritable army to come forward and make tackles on the play. That time it was Alonzo Adai playing the 2nd and long passing situation, stepping up to make a play.
So Hall of Famer Baron Miles, great player that he was, and former defensive coordinator under Kahari Jones here in Montreal, now with Ottawa, running that defense. 3rd and 10 from the 43 Zima. And out of bounds it goes. And right at the 35, so good spot for Dustin Crum and the Red Blacks coming on. Well, assuming that they're finished their turkey feast, Kate Burness, Milt Stegall, Jim Barker, Dave Naylor might have a few words about the game so far. Don't want to interrupt the holidays, though.
Well, I'll tell you, I was a little stunned to hear Milt talking about filling up on the sides.
Yeah.
As you know, we know Milt
now,
obviously very conscious.
Yeah, but what sides?
What he eats.
What actually, he did he say sweet potatoes or something?
He talked about sweet potato casserole. Now,
wow. Yeah, that's richer, isn't it?
You know, I thought it would be just like steamed broccoli.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, Milt likes his Brussels sprouts. Off to the right on 1st down and up across the 40 for the Red Blacks. 1:16 on the clock. There's the first catch of the afternoon for Jalen Acklin in his 2nd year with the Red Blacks after time with Hamilton.
Quick hitch, gets the other 2 receivers out there looking to block for him. Well defended by the Owls.
Barely a minute to go, and that 2nd down and short, and there's a 1st down for Devontae Williams, carrying it up to the Ottawa 50. He gets 8 more as they're working quickly now. Tempo up over the ball of the Ottawa Red Blacks. Still no points in this game. They didn't score at home against Montreal last week until the 4th quarter. Shutout until then. And it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage on that 1st and 10.
Yeah, it looked like a number of Alouettes getting in the passing lane. Avery Ellis, I believe, was the one who actually got his hand on the football. A little further in as Ellis and Uguak were both lined up on that side. Ellis, again, usually an end, but lined up in the interior that time.
The 7th year at a Temple, former Ottawa Red Blacks, 2nd and 10 now. Off to the right and out of bounds. Intended again for Hardy, one of the most targeted receivers in the CFL, but nothing to show for that play as well as it heads out of bounds. And 3rd down under a minute, 51 seconds on the clock. Ottawa has to punt it away again.
And placement of the kick and obviously the cover will be key on this one. Leaving Montreal some time on the clock. They want to ensure, Ottawa wants to ensure that they have as far as possible to go.
Dustin Crum started 3 for 3, 1 for 7 since, as Ottawa gives it up to Letcher and the Alouettes. A stutter step at the 10 and can't find anywhere to go. Good coverage on the punt. Adam O'Clair and the Red Blacks. 55-yard boot by Richie Leone. And this one puts the Alouettes in a deep place to start with just seconds to go. 39 on the clock. Montreal with that 8-point lead.
And always curious as you see Cody Fajardo's numbers through the first half. But always curious how teams are going to choose to handle the combination of field position and time. Unique situation here as to whether they just want to ensure this far in their own end that they don't make any mistakes with the football.
Keeping it on the ground for Fletcher, left side, gets it up to around the 19. But you saw that he's completed 15 passes so far in this game. That's as many as he completed in all of last week's game when he was 15 for 20 in that Montreal victory at TD Place in Ottawa.
And it speaks a little bit to the nature of back-to-back games with the same opponent and changing up your game plan a little bit, that Fajardo threw the ball 20 times in the entire game last week. And as mentioned, a different game for sure. But the fact that he's thrown it 18 times already in the first half of this one.
Throwing it again, and there's the first catch of the afternoon for their leading receiver, Austin Mack, who had to miss last week's game because of a thigh injury, one of the top receivers in the Canadian Football League in his first year out of Ohio State.
And we get a look at the rain coming down a little bit there as Fajardo takes the snap.
It was on their first possession of the season here at home against Ottawa back in June. Fajardo hit Mack for 61 yards. He had 4 catches for 120 yards in that game. Welcome to the CFL. He's been a star in this league. And the Alouettes content now to kill the clock and take it into the dressing room with a 8-point lead. Tyson Philpott with the big play, the touchdown for Montreal in this. As has been talked about at halftime with the panel, they need Saskatchewan to lose out as well. You know, that's part of it. I mean, it's not looking good for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Let's just put it that way. Still without a point to show for this game, going through 3 quarters. Last week at home against the Alouettes without a point before finally putting 15 on the board. Montreal leads. Jose Maltos kicks off the second half. Devontae Williams back at the 23 to take it for the REDBLACKS. Breaks free, gets away from Frederic Chagnon. He's still on his feet. He's finally taken down up across the Ottawa 50. So on comes Dustin Crum. A first half of just 4 for 10, 49 yards.
Yeah, and you heard the panel talk about it at halftime. Obviously, Ottawa needs to be better. I mean, we can look at quarterback Dustin Crum. I don't think Dustin Crum is the problem. I don't think Dustin Crum is what's holding Ottawa back. Dave Naylor mentioned the negative plays. Sacks are one thing. Guys are trying to block. Sometimes they're getting beaten, but Ottawa continually putting themselves in a hole with penalties. In this situation, you talk about controlling what you can control. That's something they can control and need to do a far better job of it.
He does that option play again with Devontae Williams, who does carry it and picks up a couple of yards. Williams in the first half is up to 8 carries now for 32.
Yeah, Devontae Williams has been really Ottawa's best offensive player in the second half of this season. One of the bright spots in a tough season for this squad. We'll look to see if they lean on him a little bit more here in the second half.
On a 2nd and 8 up near midfield for Crum with time running out of it. And there's the sack for Sean Lemon. Career sack number 100 in the great career of Alouettes defensive end, the Lemonator. A lemon drop. There have been many, and that is a milestone for him to be sure.
Yeah, watch Sean Lemon from that DN position coming around the edge. Dino Boyd goes for the cut block. Lemon anticipates it, beats it, closes quickly on Dustin Crum. Joined very select company, 13th man over 100.
13 have hit that milestone. Sean Lemon, the latest to do it. And they force the REDBLACKS to punt it away. Lemon gets a breather. His 12th year out of Akron. He'll remember this one, Dwayne.
Yeah, no doubt. Playing at home in Montreal. Tracking down a speedy quarterback in Dustin Crum. Long list on Sean Lemon's long list of QBs among his 100. He knows it.
Yeah, there he is. The hand signals for the 100. Just the 13th in CFL history to do that. Just moments ago, Fajardo completing that up across the 15 towards the 20 now. And that's for Sneed. Yeah, but Sean Lemon, who's played for just about every CFL team, we've joked with him about it. signing on after 6 games. I think it was the Alouettes' 6th game that he finally played. They didn't have a lot of sacks, and he, in short order, became their sacks leader. That was number 8 on the season, by the way.
And looking to bolster their pass rush when they signed him. And, you know, bear in mind, Lemon was 2nd in the league in sacks last year.
Gets loose, still going, up to midfield. Big run, Jeshurun Antwi. Doesn't get a lot of touches, but he certainly made that one count.
The former Calgary Dinos, Tyson Philpott and Jeshurun Antwi, having an impact here today. And, you know, I talked earlier about Philpott and Keon Julian Grant and the impact of the young Canadians, the yards they contributed to this team's offense last year. Antwi, a big part of that as well, as he got a lot of touches spelling William Stanback. He's out much of the year.
1 carry, 35 yards for Jeshurun Antwi. Here's a carry for Cody Fajardo. And pretty good gain. He takes a hit there from Brandon Dandridge. He's knocked out of bounds and close to another Montreal first down.
Yeah, I love the play call. Obviously, you want to limit the number of hits that your quarterback takes. But throughout his career, the ability to move and run the football, use his legs, has been a big part of Cody Fajardo's arsenal. So nice to see them work that into their offensive play calling. Get a convoy out in front of him and let Cody do his thing.
He comes out for Caleb Evans in this short yardage after nearly 10 yards. 9 and a bit for Cody Fajardo there, is the ex-Red Black quarterback in now on the keeper, and does indeed get the Montreal first down. Yeah, Fajardo not running a lot. His longest carry coming in was 18 this season, but does have 281 yards coming in and 3 touchdowns, average of 6 a carry. And you said it. I mean, he was known for his running ability with Jason Moss in Saskatchewan, although suffered a knee injury that hampered his season last year.
Yeah, it's one of the things that caught my eye, and no doubt caught Scout's eyes in his college days at Nevada. He followed Colin Kaepernick down there and got to demonstrate what a dual threat he was.
Little fake to Fletcher, looking deep to the left. Oh, there's a catch from Austin Mack. Haven't seen a lot of him in this day. Just his 2nd catch. Well, that's a big one for Montreal as the Alouettes keep moving downfield. A gain of 29.
Yeah, watch how relaxed Austin Mack is as he goes up to get this football, despite having a defender, DeAndre Lamont, tugging at his jersey, but just under complete control, stays with it. Little bit of a bobble there, but just smooth in all that he does.
2 catches now, 31 yards. Austin Mack, one of many great stories in the Canadian Football League. This newcomer in 2023. This last week with a thigh injury. And this is most receiving yards in their first season with the Alouettes. James Scott came up to Montreal after many years in the NFL. Same with Billy White Shoes Johnson.
And Austin Mack, far less established NFL player than those guys were.
Fletcher there. Seeing that graphic makes you think of the Alouettes around 1980. Nelson Scalbani owned them. They spent a lot of money. Remember who their quarterback was back then? Also from the NFL?
Absolutely. Vince Ferragamo made his way north. Former Rams star.
They had the late David Overstreet from Oklahoma on that team. Tom Cousineau.
Yeah. First pick in the NFL draft.
That's right.
But chose to come and play in Montreal.
Later went to the Cleveland Browns, but yeah, they had a lot of big names back then. Didn't necessarily work out on the field, but had some flash. Here's Fajardo. Breaks free. And he completes that inside the 10. And that's Walter Fletcher. And right down in first down territory, too. The 3rd and short, just a few inches.
And a check release for Fletcher. You see Javon Santos Knox trying to track him down, but little bit of a mismatch there with the speedy Fletcher in space.
Caleb Evans back in. As mentioned earlier, had a couple of touchdowns in this Thanksgiving game a year ago for the Ottawa REDBLACKS, and Ottawa's victory. Evans, first-year Alouette. His specialty with Ottawa last year, had a bunch of touchdowns in short yardage situations. In this one, it gets them closer to a touchdown. It'll be a first and goal coming up after that pickup by ex-REDBLACK Caleb Evans. In his third year out of Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah, a lot of starts in Ottawa through his first couple of years, but has, I think, really embraced this role as the backup short yardage guy. Successful in a couple of starts when called upon earlier this season. You know, probably, well, clearly rushed into the role in Ottawa before he was ready.
Halfway, third quarter. Alouettes threatening. Takes a hit. Walter Fletcher still on his feet. He can't get there. Brandon Dandridge is pulling him back. Fletcher got close, about a yard away, but the REDBLACKS defense hung on and kept them out of the end zone.
Yeah, big collision here between Fletcher and Justin Howell, the free safety coming up. Howell with his head and neck caught awkwardly. Slow to get up here. He tries to shake this one off. Good to see Justin back on his feet.
So Evans stays in. Short yardage and a second and goal coming up here for Montreal with an 8-point lead. The 10th play of the drive is coming up here for the Alouettes.
Big play to Austin Mack was the most noteworthy on the drive, but yeah, they've been able to grind it out a little bit here for 10 plays.
Second and goal. Evans. No signal. Not yet. REDBLACKS were able to hold him up right at the 1. So a third down and goal is coming up here.
A big one for Evans. Led the league in touchdowns last season.
It was Money Hunter coming in and just getting around, grabbing on and hanging on for dear life to keep him out of the end zone. So here we go. 8-0 Alouettes. Third and goal at the Ottawa 1. Evans! Touchdown! Caleb Evans with another Thanksgiving Monday touchdown in Montreal, this time for the home side. 27th career rushing touchdown and the 8th this season.
Yeah, and watch how instead of just jamming it up in traffic, this time he's going to slide to his right, find a soft spot. And then he goes on his feet to extend the Alouette lead.
The score at halftime last week in Ottawa was Montreal 15, Ottawa nothing. They would later extend that to 22-0.
Misconduct penalty, Ottawa number 32. It's a 15-yard penalty that's going to be applied on the kickoff. On a penalty de conduite de 15 verges, donc Ottawa 32. Ça va être appelé.
Adam O'Clair called, but another penalty against the REDBLACKS. And the point after try coming up here for Jose Maltos, the kicker for the injured David Cote. Maltos from Monterrey, Mexico. His first regular season game in the Canadian Football League. For Joseph Zeman to put it down. Maltos puts it through. So mentioning the halftime score a week ago was 15-0. That's what we have right now. As the REDBLACKS just can't buy a point. They fall further behind in a must-win game.
Evans plunge. The most recent Alouettes touchdown. Off to the right side and standing up, little wink. His former teammate Douglas Coleman after the play.
That capped off an 11-play, 102-yard drive. Remember where the Alouettes started from in Took a lot of time off the clock, nearly 7 minutes as well. Montreal in complete control right now. 15-0. Their defense pitching a shutout. Ottawa football up across the 30 on a shorter kick that time from Maltos. No points on the board for the Red Dart. A drive from their own 8-yard line. It works out well, Dwayne.
Yeah, a big run from Jesh Renantwi and a strike to Austin Mack. 2 chunk plays on that drive for Montreal, but really more of a grinded out possession for the Alouettes as they take 10 plays, chew up some time on the clock to punch it in, dominating the time of possession in this ballgame.
Over 25 minutes for Montreal, about half that. Under 14 minutes for the Red Blacks, who have the ball again in a big hole. From throwing, completing to Braylon. And best gain of the day for Addison as he gets it across midfield into the Alouette zone. And quickly over the ball, Ottawa's working tempo. Gain of 23.
Yeah, and I like the idea of Ottawa going tempo here. Try and shake something up a little bit. See if they can get Montreal's defense off balance.
From the Montreal 53, Crump. Deflected at the line of scrimmage. Looked like it was intended for Jalen Ackland. 2nd down. And the 2nd time in this game that an Alouette defender has been able to get the hands up and mess with the pass of Dustin Crump.
Things clogged up in front of him. Once again, Uguak, man, works his way to the inside looking for a rush lane. Instead finds a passing lane and bats that one down.
Completed 5 passes to 5 different receivers, but not his top one, Justin Hardy. 2nd and 10. Gets away, and it's knocked away. Intended there for for Shaq Evans, and Reggie Stubblefield coming back. And knocked that one away, so nothing for Shaq Evans there, and a 3rd down coming up for Ottawa.
And meanwhile, Sean Lemon not satisfied with 100. Goes looking for number 101. When Dustin Crump gets there just a little bit late that time, but all still to the pleasure of Noel Thorpe, defensive coordinator of the Alouettes.
Richie Leone's had a busy day, much to the chagrin of Bob Dice. That was his 8th punt on 8 possessions for Ottawa, and the return by Letcher after a 47-yarder for Leone. So, yeah, Bob Dice, better memories, I'm sure, of being a head coach of this team a year ago on Thanksgiving, as he took over from Paul Lapalisse as an interim head coach, and they came in here Thanksgiving Monday and they won 24-18, but not a lot of wins since then. He took over as full-time head coach, and 4 wins this season, and really up against it now. Mathematically, they lose today. They're officially eliminated.
And part of the frustration, I'm sure, for Ottawa has been that they found themselves in a situation at quarterback with Jeremiah Masoli going down again. But while they have found a potential long-term solution, I think, at quarterback in Dustin Crump, the fact is, for him, is, for all intents and purposes, he arrived in Ottawa late last year, but for all intents and purposes, a first-year player in the CFL. You knew there were going to be growing pains. There were going to be ups and downs. So we've seen the flashes of success and what Ottawa and their fans have to look forward to. But to have to put so much on a rookie quarterback, I mean, you can see in terms of play calling and so on that they're playing to manage games because they're playing with a young guy at quarterback, and it limits the chances that they can take, and sometimes that limits your overall production.
2nd and 9 now at the Alouette 20. Cody Fajardo. He steps up. He takes off. And he gets tackled right around the 30, and looks to be enough. It is for a 1st down for Montreal. And the legs of Cody Fajardo, 11 yards.
Yeah, Fajardo once again demonstrating what an asset that mobility is within this Montreal offense.
And these possessions by the Alouettes now, as mentioned, the last one, that touchdown drive, it wasn't just the points, it's the time off the clock. It took over 7 minutes. Oh, he shovels it up nicely to Fletcher. It was a gain up across the 40. And a play that looked to be breaking down for Montreal. And it's timely with Fajardo to Fletcher and another Alouette first down. 12 more.
Fajardo gets rid of the ball, but not without paying a price here. You're going to see him take a shot from Coleman just as he releases that one. Cody will try and shake that one off and go back to work.
Goes down as a completed pass. His 11th straight as he rolls out to the right and throws it back left to Fletcher. Walter Fletcher up across the 45. The second down coming up and under 2 minutes to go now in the third quarter that has just been completely controlled by the Montreal Alouettes.
And you seeing Fletcher now. We saw Antwi with the big run on the last possession. The team obviously usually with William Stanback as part of its offensive identity be pretty comfortable if they can get themselves into ground and pound mode to eat up time on the clock in this game.
2nd and 6. Complete. And the first down and more for Sneed. Still on his feet. A great run after the catch by Tyler Sneed to get it down to the Ottawa 40.
See Sneed motion down and then work underneath. A little bit of a rub there. Try and free him up, but fantastic effort after the catch by Tyler Sneed.
6 catches, 69 yards now for Sneed. In the Ottawa 40. And back to Fletcher. We've seen him rushing and receiving in this one when Stanback was the one that had a bigger day on offense, including a touchdown last week in Ottawa. He's out with an illness, and we've seen this before. They hardly miss a beat when they put 25 in.
I'm just watching the clock tick down on this third quarter and thinking that time of possession that we talked about, you're seeing the effect that that's having on Ottawa's defense right now. Not a lot of resistance to the physicality of the Montreal run game.
Well, that's Tyson Philpott on the sweep, but Bryce Carter was on that. So a loss and just 2 seconds on the clock. One more play in this third quarter. And a third down coming up here for Montreal.
Yeah, big defensive play there from Bryce Carter, who's been terrific for the Red Blacks all season. They desperately needed a stop. Number 58 comes up with it.
And Jose Maltos. First regular season game in the Canadian Football League. 0 for 1. Missed one back in the first quarter. This went for a rouge. This would be a 46-yard try with Joseph Zima to put it down. From Monterrey, Mexico, former Ottawa Red Black from the practice roster. Getting his chance here, Jose Maltos with his first CFL field goal. He had 5 of them in the preseason against Ottawa, and they gave him a big celebration, including the game winner at the end of that preseason game, a comeback victory for the Alouettes back in June. So Maltos puts 3 more on the board, and once again the Red Blacks are shut out through 3 quarters for the second straight week against the Alouettes. One at the top there representing the score of the Ottawa Red Blacks. And look at the time of possession difference in that third quarter. And you don't need to look at this turkey too long to figure out something happened here. I don't know, but I'm thinking the tryptophan starting to kick in. How about you, partner? It wasn't just us, but the crew's going to enjoy this bird too.
Yeah, exactly. We were willing to share with the crew, everybody giving up a portion of their Thanksgiving holiday weekend, working on this game, and very deservedly being rewarded for their efforts.
Isn't that nice? Even with the rain coming down, a little bit of cold turkey by then. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and to our wonderful crew here is Montreal as well. Give us everything that we've enjoyed as part of the production of this game today. Still a little turkey left, Mr. Fort. Drumstick there. Fourth quarter begins. Ottawa Red Blacks still without a point. It's Jalen Ackland and 5 yards for Ottawa. Or Nick Arbuckle is in now, who started the season opener with Jeremiah Mazzoli not ready. It was Arbuckle who made the first 2 starts for the Red Blacks. He came on last week too, late in the game in the final 2 minutes as Bob Dice just looked to mix it up a little bit, but he threw 3 picks in that game here in Montreal in the opener, and the Red Blacks lost. And that one sails incomplete on the 2nd and 5, so 2 and out. Braylon Addison, the intended target for the veteran quarterback, Nick Arbuckle.
Now Addison's slow to get up on the play. Obviously with Addison, you just hope it's nothing related to previous injuries that have limited his last couple of CFL seasons.
James Letcher. Had a busy day. First year at a Washburn in Topeka, Kansas. And getting his chances on returns with Chandler Worthy hurt. Stopped there at the 20 after a punt of 54 by Richie Leone. So the Alouettes continue to pitch a shutout Thanksgiving weekend in Montreal.
Former Canadian fighter pilot with the Canadian Armed Forces who's been working with the Alouettes in mental strategies and teamwork. And he introduced the concept, the OODA loop, which stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. It's a 4-step decision-making process. And for Luala Uguak, it's been a process that he said has really helped him develop a clear picture of what he has to do to attack the player in front of him. Based on what he sees, he studies his film, works in practice, and then that allows him to develop the best solution possible. He really feels he's becoming into his own. He's seeing the right things, and most importantly, he's getting comfortable.
Mackenzie, he certainly has been seeing the right things. Had a good game today. Flags coming out. Walter Fletcher on the carry. Just out with the snap of the football.
Is it just me, or does Kenzie look like a spy today? Looks like she's undercover.
You know, we always comment on the sartorial splendor of John Liu, who was here before, and now on Kenzie as well. And
exactly. You
looking
take the
very
job
sharp.
in Montreal.
Yeah, looks very sharp.
There's 2 penalties for offside. Number 4 Ottawa, number 81 Montreal. We'll just replay the first down. Il y a 2 pénalités pour hors-jeu. Numéro 4 Ottawa, 81 Montréal.
Announced by Ben Major. So a 1st and 10, bottom line at the Alouette 22. Trying to hang on, and they're in good shape for it right now with an 18-point lead for their 9th win of the season. They would improve to 9-7 and get back 2 points ahead of the Hamilton Tiger Cats for 2nd in the East. Fajardo. That's caught by Cole Speaker, who looked like he had an eye problem earlier in this game. Little injury with maybe a finger poking his eye, but his eye seems just fine. A gain of 16 for the Alouette receiver.
Yeah, and you get a little bit of Cody Fajardo's view of the crossing routes here. Speaker, the deeper of the 2, comes into an open window. Fajardo throws it on time for the completion.
Up to the 38 of the Alouettes. They just keep working that clock, too. That 3rd quarter was fast. They hung on to the ball most of the way. Complete to Austin Mack. Another one for him. And a late flag coming out with Mack being taken down. And the difference in penalties in this game has been monstrous against the Red Blacks. They've had
Foul, face mask. Ottawa number 6 will go up 15 yards from the end of the play. It's going to be 1st down for Montreal.
Damon Webb there, but yes, lots of penalties against the Red Blacks in this game, really working against them.
I think
we said number 6, number 37, Brandon Dandridge.
Yeah, I don't know if I was sold on that when perhaps from the official's angle and at live speed. He didn't appear to grab the mask.
8 penalties for 96 yards versus 1 penalty for 8 yards by Montreal. Walter Fletcher bounces off a tackle, and he gets down near the Ottawa 40. And the clock keeps ticking.
And I think with Ottawa not really presenting much in the way of an offensive threat, Montreal feeling pretty confident in what their defense has done against the Red Blacks over the last 2 weeks. They seem quite content to take a fairly conservative approach here in the second half of this ballgame.
And why not? The way their defense has been going against the Ottawa Red Blacks. Still no points on the board for Ottawa. Fajardo's running around. He does get rid of it. Heading for Jake Hardy, but that's too high, and it sails out of bounds with Money Hunter coming in. And, just recently back from the injured list, and Hunter favoring his right leg now. He's missed most of the season with injury.
A nice escape move here from Fajardo as he gets Kenny Onyeka to overcommit on the outside, and then really just a veteran play. He's throwing that one away. Hunter planting awkwardly on that one.
That ended a run, by the way, of 16 straight completions for Cody Fajardo. As with that incompletion is a 3rd and 3 as Maltos is back. Maltos on to try to add 3 more on the board for the Alouettes, who are completely dominating this game. He can. He's missed from 48, made from 45. This will be his 3rd field goal attempt, and as mentioned, his first regular season game ever in the Canadian Football League. 32 years of age, from Monterrey, Mexico, and filling in for the injured David Cote, their regular kicker. This will be a 49-yard try. Last we saw Maltos, who was with the Red Blacks last year, was a preseason win by Montreal over Ottawa in Ottawa back in June. And that one, nope, he misses it right. So he's 1 for 3 on the day. Missing that long try as Addison takes a knee finally, running around with over 11 minutes to go, barely in this 4th quarter, and a 19-0 lead now.
Well, Jose Maltos maybe not having the success he would have liked to here in his Alouettes regular season debut, but nonetheless a success story for him. Story of perseverance.
Talk about a success story. How about this guy? Sean Lemon earlier getting career sack number 100 when he took down Dustin Crum. He has sacked 37 different quarterbacks over his career. And you look at the likes of the names ahead of him. Next up, Odell Willis, just 1 sack ahead. Ultimately, Grover Covington is just amazing, the sack total that he racked up with. Quite the career for Sean Lemon. Blitz coming. Nick Umbach, the little quarterback. The ball is out and in the hands of Tyrese Beverett. Well, this just sums it up, doesn't it? Little scoop and score for Beverett. And another defensive touchdown for the Montreal Alouettes against Ottawa, their 3rd in 2 games.
And another big play for Tyrese Beverett. He comes on the loop. He's free, so when the ball gets punched out by Stubblefield, he's right there to scoop it up. And off to the races is Tyrese Beverett.
We had just been talking about Lemon, who had the scoop and score last week in Ottawa for the Alouette touchdown, and that was after a pick 6 by Marc-Antoine Duquois. So, wow, this Alouette defense rearing its ugly head against Ottawa. 3 touchdowns in 2 games and shutting the Red Blacks out 25-0 with an extra point by Maltos. Added for good measure. 26-0. Stubblefield coming in, forcing a fumble, and Beverett picking it up and taking it into the end zone.
Yeah, watch 35 Stubblefield coming from the left, coming in backside. It's a great job. You saw the right hand come in first, going for that football, but making sure he wraps up to secure the tackle. But when that ball gets punched out, it's Beverett who's right there. think about this East Division, and a year ago, Lorenzo Malden moves from Hamilton to Ottawa, becomes the top defensive player in the East and in the CFL. Beverett moved from Hamilton to Montreal in free agency last year, and you would certainly think a guy who would be in the conversation with awards time right around the corner.
His career has just flourished. He was a great special teamer with the Ticats,
and
right?
Still is.
And still is. You know what? Still leading them. 15 special teams tackles coming into this. By the way, that was his 4th fumble recovery this season, his 2nd for a touchdown, to go along with 5 sacks. And he's doing just about everything. For Noel Thorpe's defense, Devontae Williams with it now. REDBLACKS. Well, what can you say? Is Ottawa's season mathematically is coming to an end here. Still 10:30 to go, but just no signs of life from the REDBLACKS offense. And again, they emphasize that it was 22-0 after 3 quarters last week for Montreal, when finally Ottawa was able to put points on the board, and they're just running out of time.
Montreal really just took over this game in the 3rd quarter, barely giving Ottawa a chance to operate offensively.
Williams on the carry. Wesley Sutton in on the tackle.
Sutton in from his halfback spot. It's good support from second level. Tyrese Beverett in the mix there as well.
Lots of time for Arbuckle. Checks it down to Williams. Devontae Williams up near a first down around the 47 of the REDBLACKS.
Ottawa preparing to go tempo again. But Reggie Stubblefield in on a lot of plays today, and it's been neat to watch him. He seems to really be flourishing since moving down to that nickel linebacker spot after playing on the back end for much of the year.
Arbuckle. That's complete. Jalen Ackland, first down Ottawa. Yeah, last week, Stubblefield not only had 2 sacks, he had an interception in the end zone early in that game. Ottawa driving down. That REDBLACK offense was better last week at moving the ball, but at critical points, taken off the board, and he had the interception to nullify a drive.
Yeah, there you see his numbers. Guy emerging as a difference maker and playing some tough positions, halfback and the nickel spot here in his first CFL season.
In the Alouette zone, and it's Williams, right side, and down about the 46. Call it a gain of 5. There's Noel Thorpe, the defensive coordinator for the Montreal Alouettes, who must just be loving, especially these last couple of games. Well, really, going back to the performance they had in Calgary a couple of weeks ago, the big victory over the Stampeders, where their defense was terrific. And the Montreal 46, second down for Williams, who can't hang on, and Stubblefield was right there.
Again. One of Ottawa's more sustained drives, particularly here in the second half, but a bobble there by Devontae Williams gives Stubblefield a chance to come in and make sure that he doesn't get a second chance to grab that one.
Well, Richie Leone needs a break, the kind of day he's had with all that punting, and Academic now 3rd and 5. They have to go for it. Down a whole bunch. Halfway through the 4th quarter, Arbuckle incomplete. Flag comes out, though, on Deontay Ruffin in his coverage of Siose Mariner, so they will call the PI to keep this drive going for Ottawa.
Interference, Montreal number 37. It's going to be a 10-yard penalty, automatic first down for Ottawa.
Looked like Ruffin was there, but calling it on Wesley Sutton.
Presumably
So they said 37.
Yeah. Sutton came flying across late, and I think he was charged on circumstantial evidence as he was in the area.
So Jason Moss has thrown his challenge flag on that.
Challenging the ruling on the play. They believe it was not pass interference, and the correct number is 22. The play will be reviewed. Montreal demande.
So Ben Major sets the record straight on that. They did call the pass interference on Deontay Ruffin. Jason Moss doesn't think so. We'll have a ruling on that coming back. This, Deontay Ruffin, was it pass interference on COC Mariner?
Splitting hairs, but once it's been called, technically he's there before the ball.
Okay, so Jason Moss challenged, and this is the decision by the command center.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. Montreal loses their challenge and a team timeout.
So to your point, on a play looking like that, since it was already called pass interference, it does stand as that. So the drive continues for Nick Arbuckle and the Ottawa REDBLACKS, down 26 points.
Yeah, and that to me is a tough call on Deontay Ruffin, because I think if you look at that at live speed, in terms of the timing of him getting there, if that's pass interference, you're making it very difficult to play defensive back in this league.
Halfway through the final quarter, Nick Arbuckle steps up, and he does find a receiver on the run. He found Mariner for another first down for the REDBLACKS as they quickly move up to the ball.
A nice off-script play there by Nick Arbuckle on the move. You can kind of see it developing in slow motion as he started to approach the line of scrimmage going to his right. You could see Mariner coming open, working the other way.
Nick Arbuckle, the quarterback, taking over from Dustin Crum, trying to get something going. Get some points on the board. Mariner again, as he's targeted again, third straight time. That's a 9-yard pickup that time. They keep working tempo.
Yeah, the tempo thing seems to be working for them, so go with that rhythm.
This is the furthest that the REDBLACKS have gone in Alouette territory this game. Down to the 14. Faking, throwing, and no, too far, and intended again for Mariner with Ruffin with him. So a 3rd down and 2 is coming up.
Here's the matchup. Mariner's going to stem inside, then work outside. Nice swim move to try and get free, but a good recovery by Ruffin makes that a real tight window for Nick Arbuckle.
Substitutions now for the Ottawa REDBLACKS.
The field goal unit, Michael Domagala is out there.
Michael Domagala, who did not have a field goal attempt last week against the Alouettes, is on for the first one now. 6:35 in the clock, and down by just about 4 touchdowns. And a field goal attempt coming up here for Domagala, the ex-Hamilton Tiger Cat. He is in for the injured Lewis Ward, who was hurt for the season in the game against the BC Lions in Vancouver a few weeks ago. So the shutout is over for Montreal. It's 26-3 as the REDBLACKS get some points on the board as we go to our moment of chill now. This was in the preseason. Jose Maltos, he went 5 for 5, including the winning field goal in the preseason game at the end, and they hoisted him for his moment in the CFL. Never kicked in a regular season game until today. He gets in, and he missed a couple, but he did put one through as well from 45 out. Good on Monterrey, Mexico's Jose Maltos. Gets that hero's welcome. We were doing that game in the preseason. That was priceless. The Alouettes coming back to beat the REDBLACKS, his old team. And he was the man of the hour, getting that game-winning field goal, and quite the little celebration for preseason game. But talk about perseverance. I mean, this guy, 2018 with the BC Lions, 2nd overall pick in the global draft, the first one by Ottawa. He's been around a long time without ever getting a chance until today.
Yeah, this is exactly it. And obviously a guy who is to stick around as long as he has, a guy who has been a good teammate for people to decide to keep him around. And and see that potential as well. And Jose Maltos making the most of an opportunity here today. So,
well, he had a couple of years in Ottawa, never got a chance, you know, when you have Lewis Ward, one of the best ever there, the incumbent, and Richie Leone, a great punter, handling that duty. And then so he signs on in the practice roster with the Alouettes, where they already have Laval's David Cote. But he got his chance today with Cote injured and back in the hands of Cody Fajardo to Tyler Sneed in a 26-3 lead now.
A busy day for Tyler Sneed, who has emerged as Montreal's second leading receiver behind Austin Mack on the season. Nice timing on the sideline route here.
That was his 7th catch for 78 yards for Sneed and the East Carolina Pirates. The Montreal 52, and quickly to Tyson Philpott, who had a touchdown, the first one in this game, back in the first half.
DeAndre Lamont closes quickly on Philpott to ensure that he doesn't have a chance to get going.
Lamont got into the lineup with the injury to Abdul Kenna a few weeks ago. Nearly had an interception for a touchdown against Saskatchewan. He had 2 picks in that game. Cody Fajardo, after the fake, he just calls his own number, and Frankie Griffin takes him down, but it is another first down for the Alouettes. Was mentioned are in Edmonton next week and then close it out against Hamilton in a game that still could be for second place in home field in the Eastern semifinal for Jason Maas. Not decided yet. Even with a win today, they'd go to 8-7. The Ticats at 8-8. But Montreal does own the season series, having won the 2 games so far, both in Hamilton. So here in Montreal in a couple of weeks to close out the season. As for the Red Blacks, back-to-back against the Toronto Argonauts to finish up their season, and by the looks of things now, no chance of a playoff spot at all. Walter Fletcher with their loss of 4 yards. Michael Wakefield, ex-Alouette, coming in on him.
Cringe a little bit when you're Jason Maas and you see a defensive tackle rolling over top of your quarterback late in the game that seems to be in hand.
Well, we've asked that question on other teams. You know, the way this game certainly looks in hand, do you get Fajardo out of the game and put Caleb Evans in?
You would think that that this might be Cody's last series.
Another catch and run for Walter Fletcher inside the Ottawa 45. Ty Cranston in there, another ex-Alouette.
Fletcher looking no worse for wear. It looked like he might have taken the knee to the side of the helmet in the collision here, but
Lonzo Adai and Ty Cranston in on that tackle as the 3-minute warning is issued, and a third down coming up here. They so graciously provided us. That actually would not be true, would it? Because it's cold, and you will not eat cold turkey.
Well, I have friends, by the way, who have concurred that roasted meats are meant to be eaten hot.
Okay, well,
fresh from the oven.
Call me an outlier then. It wouldn't be the first time.
I respect the beliefs of others, Rod.
Alouettes punting it away. And Justin Hardy back and touches it, and it heads out and puts them very deep. I want to remind you that coverage of the WNBA Finals get underway Wednesday. The New York Liberty, Las Vegas Aces take to the court in the finals. Tune in at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on TSN. As they decide the champions 2023 in the WNBA. Ottawa last time shut out September the 24th, 1988. Lost 31-0 to Winnipeg. Not shut out this time around. That was the old Rough Riders. They did get that field goal in to prevent that. But points have come at a premium for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. In both of these games, really, did manage to put 15 on last week in the fourth quarter. Blitz coming. Arbuckle gets rid of it up across the 15. Braylon Addison with the catch.
And Ottawa at this point playing for pride in this ball game. As you mentioned, the field goal attempt went down by 26. Yeah, was about erasing that goose egg and not coming away with nothing when they got in close.
Mustafa Johnson right in Arbuckle's face as he was getting rid of that ball thrown up. Good coverage there around Seose Mariner.
And you'll see three-man front here. Mustafa Johnson on the nose. Fights through a would-be double team to still get a shot on the QB.
Last year in the East, the Argos finished first, the Alouettes second, the Ticats third, the REDBLACKS out of the playoffs. That script isn't finalized, but it's looking awfully similar right now. Although Hamilton may still have something to say about that as Arbuckle is taken down. There's Mustafa Johnson out of Colorado in on that play. To provide more misery for the REDBLACKS, are going to have to kick it away.
And I said off the top what an underrated pass rusher Mustafa Johnson is. He knows Ottawa's in throwing mode here. Ears pinned back. Quick slap and rip to the inside there. Straight through to the QB.
So Leone back kicking from his end zone. Not the first time that's happened on this day. And the third and long. Been averaging over 50. He gets that one up across the 45. Good return. Letcher keeps his feet. He's still going. 15. Finally taken down at the 10 for James Letcher. Subbing for Chandler Worthy in his best return in his young CFL career.
And Letcher spots the gap, gets this one up the field in a hurry. Great balance right here. He stumbles a little bit, but regains his footing before he hits that sideline. REDBLACKS fortunate to avoid a touchdown on this one, but maybe an inevitability given the field position that Letcher has provided.
He was another noteworthy player in that preseason game we did when the Alouettes were in Ottawa. Had a good game. Chandler Worthy did not dress for that one, and Letcher looked like he'd be a promising returner and receiver, and now getting his chance, and it is Caleb Evans in at quarterback to finish things up. Under 2 minutes to go. Evans had a couple of starts when Cody Fajardo was hurt with a non-throwing shoulder injury. He got a victory over Saskatchewan where only threw 13 passes. It was a CFL low in a game since 1980. And then the next week in Ottawa, when they were down a couple of scores with only a few minutes to go, Evans, who had a rough first half, had a great second half and sparked the comeback.
Yeah, and that's big. That's what you want from your backup quarterback, is to give you a chance to win with your starter out of the lineup. Caleb Evans certainly did that and beyond.
Final game of the season series between the Owls and the REDBLACKS, and totally dominated by Montreal. This will make it 4-0 against them. The Ticats also swept Ottawa. The Argos beat Ottawa once. They have 2 more games coming up to end the season. And really, for Bob Dice's team, the biggest downfall this year, the inability to win games in their own division, where they have not won one. Their 4 wins, all against Western opponents.
Yeah, the head-to-heads have killed them. A couple of matchups with Toronto still on the horizon. Don't necessarily know what you're going to see lineup-wise from either team with their respective playoff plans, at least predetermined.
Shorter one for Jose Maltos, who goes 2 for 4. He was our Coors Light moment of chill. And so week 18 just about done. So 3 weekends of play remaining in the regular season. Most teams will have a bye in one of those 3. But here we got week 19, Lions Ticats. That one looms large for both. Friday night football, Saskatchewan-Calgary.
Massive.
Stampeders have to win, but they got a chance. If they do, they'd win the season series and get to within 2 points. Owls and the Elks in Edmonton, and Montreal still trying to hammer down second place. The Ticats putting pressure on, then the REDBLACKS and the Argos, as it looks very much now. The Ottawa REDBLACKS will miss the playoffs for another year. Haven't made it since 2018 when they went to the Grey Cup against Calgary. Sean Lemon, he used to play for the REDBLACKS. 2015 went to the Grey Cup against Edmonton back then. Played, Calgary, BC, Saskatchewan, I believe the first team he was ever with. Argos.
Yeah, brief moment with Winnipeg. Funny to see him on the sideline with Armando Sewell, as it's been talked about this year, the fact that those guys were college teammates, but not just college teammates, they were in the same recruiting class. So they played their entire careers together at Akron.
The Akron Zips.
Arrived in Edmonton together at the start of their careers.
Devontae Williams with the ball on the kickoff. Late flag coming out as well. 42 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, 3 flags scattered around the field.
So we will declare the Alouettes victors here with 42 seconds left. 9-7.
First down.
9-7 record, so second place, 2 points ahead of Hamilton. Now remember, that's really more than 2 effectively, because they have the season series against the Ticats. But those two teams meet again. Depending what happens next week, it could go right down to the wire to decide home field in the East Division. We do know it's the Argos, it's the Alouettes, it's the Ticats, and we do know now in the West, with Ottawa about to be officially eliminated, that it will be Winnipeg and BC, yet to be determined 1 and 2. Bombers in the driver's seat. And then Saskatchewan is as well ahead of Calgary. The Stampeders would need to run the table, and they would have the tie break against the Rough Riders. They have just the 4 wins, and Saskatchewan the 6. But it could get more interesting for that third place spot in the West if Calgary can beat Saskatchewan next week. And Rough Riders going through a terrible stretch right now, where they've now lost 5 in a row after they were defeated earlier in the weekend against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
And you heard the panel talk extensively about the Riders' situation at halftime. Just desperately trying to reverse that momentum, especially at this point in the season.
Actually, saying the Stamps had to run the table, technically they just have to finish with the same number of wins. As long as they beat the Riders next week, they would get the tiebreak. They're 1-1 in their season series, but still not fully decided. A lot of things are, and it's so interesting in the West with that great comeback by Winnipeg at BC Place to retake first place in the West Division. Deep look, with the defender falling down and a late flag coming out. COC Mariner.
Yeah, I think you're going to get offensive pass interference here as Mariner pulled down the defender to prevent the interception along the sideline. He's at the top of your screen.
Kabian Ento.
Pass
the corner.
Ottawa 82. We'll go back 10 yards. We'll replay first down. Passe interférence offensive.
Pretty good games back-to-back for Noel Thorpe's crew on D for the Owls.
Looking like their 4th game this season, and they have not allowed a touchdown. Barring a miracle play in the final seconds here by the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Could be the last play. Zeros on the clock. On that catch up near midfield. Montreal Alouettes take a big step towards securing home field for the East semifinal once again. And the Ottawa REDBLACKS are officially eliminated from any shot at the playoffs. Thanksgiving Monday.